So what happens when we issue Docker commands like docker ps or other various commands? First things first, I've installed Docker Engine on my machine. I have a Linux machine, more exactly Ubuntu, and let's try to locate Docker and see what's behind the scenes. So we can see that it's actually a binary, more exactly an executable linkable format. If we use the full path, indeed this is the CLI, we can issue Docker commands. And let's try to leverage systemctl and list our services which are running on this machine, and grep for Docker. We can see that we have a Docker service which is running on this machine. If we take a look at the status of it, we can see a couple of interesting things. First things first, this is the unit file. Now, it is triggered by Docker socket. We're going to see later on what's the deal with it. And it starts this process docker d. So I'm pretty sure if we take a look in the unit file, we can see indeed this process is being started. If we leverage ps and take a look at docker d, we can see that it's running in the background as a daemon, and it talks with containerd using this file, which is a Unix socket. And what's containerd? Containerd, it's actually a container runtime, more exactly a high-level container runtime. So if we use docker system info and take a look at the runtimes, we can see that we have containerd as a high-level container runtime and runc as a low-level container runtime. Now, coming back to our Docker service, we can see that this process docker d is actually listening on this socket, which, guess what, if we list now, instead of services, sockets, we can see that we have Docker socket. Even more, looking at Docker socket, we can see that's active running, and it has this Unix socket, and we can even leverage the socket and communicate with the Docker engine. So if we do a docker ps, we can see that we don't have any container runnings. Furthermore, use curl to communicate with Docker engine, and if we start in the background on a container based on Alpine, we can see that we can communicate successfully with Docker engine. Now, the entire idea is pretty simple. We have Docker CLI that communicates with docker d daemon, which communicates with containerd container runtime. So in terms of structure, on a Ubuntu machine, on a Linux machine, that's the entire idea.